Juno Temple plays Dorothy Lyon in Fargo season 5. I'm Matt Noble of Gold Derby, and I wanted to start things, Juno, by asking you, what surprised you about Fargo season 5?
I think, honestly, kind of everything. I think the unknown of Fargo and each installment of the show before continues on when you become a part of it. I think you are desperate for the next episode, for the next script that you're going to get to find out where your character is going to go next, and it never ceases to surprise you, if I'm being truly honest. So but that's also a real gift, because you're kind of living in the moment, which is what we do in real life too.
Was there a particular script you got that had a moment that you sort of weren't expecting and just sort of informed you about who Dot was in a way that you hadn't sort of taken on board?
Episode 7 for sure, which is the episode where she goes to Camp Utopia and does her puppet show. I think that one took me by surprise, because it felt like such a brilliant way to explore this character's past by doing it through a puppet show and by doing it through this kind of dream-like subconscious, this release that she didn't know that she needed. And I had a little bit of a heads up that script was coming and was going to be about that journey for Dot, who at the time of the beginning of the puppet show, she's Nadine, and I think it surprised me by its kind of really incredible, brave way of telling that past. And it was something I was very nervous but really excited about diving into. And again, who had informed me about Dot? Noah Hawley, the creator of all the previous installments before and of chapter 5. And he told me lots of things about Dorothy, also Nadine, but it was something that I felt like I kept learning. But the kind of the main base notes for her of some of the things she'd been through in her past and what she was running from, to make sure that her present and her future was as important as it was in the show. You had to learn about her past a bit beforehand. And also it was important in making decisions in the early episodes of how she handles herself when she walks into a certain space, because sometimes she wants to be a wallflower, and she doesn't want to necessarily be noticed by everybody. And I think understanding her past was very important for her present.
What was the biggest challenge for you in playing Dot?
I think the physicality of her initially. It was like, whoa, she's a superhero mom. Things that, but that was also an element of playing her that I really enjoyed, actually, because that, her physicality isn't slick. It's not like she's an actual kind of trained assassin. She's a survivor, and she's a feral one at that. And so she's amazing at getting out of these situations. And I think that was something that also surprised me, the kind of never-ending ways in which she kind of would divert a situation and somehow manage to get out of it. And I think even like when she's defending her house and she's got Scotty involved in their booby trapping the house, of creating, a Dorothy Lyon security system, and the ideas that will come up that were created for her to be doing with Scotty were just so great. So there was a lot of fun with her physicality. And, I was expecting to have to kind of train and all this kind of stuff. But no, I just kind of ran with it. And so there was, I loved that I got to be scrappy, but I got to actually challenge myself to do as many of the stunts as I could. The one thing that I didn't love doing, I definitely don't need to do it again, but was an important and amazing thing, was setting fire to somebody in episode 2 or episode 1, sorry. That really threw me. So that was, I think that was something, I didn't know that I could do. And I had a lot of help. The stunt team were absolutely amazing. And my stunt double Louise, who got hit by a car for me 6 times, fell down the stairs. Like, she was a badass. Yeah. But I really enjoyed it, so that was good.
Yeah, it's funny, like Dot's referred to as a tiger a bit throughout the series, and there's definitely truth to that because she is very tough to handle. But I wonder if like tigers are a bit more of the like aggressives and they go out and seek the trouble maybe more. So I wonder if there's a different like animal that Dot might be more like. I don't know.
Well, I think she's definitely, I mean, the whole kind of idea of this sort of feline energy, right? And I think, you know, the Dorothy Lion, she's married into the Lion family. And Lorraine, played by Jennifer, who's just magic in that role, as she always is, to be honest. But she was so feline. And it was something that felt really fun to play with, the two of us, kind of this cat-like energy. And Dot isn't really invited into the Pride of Lions, is she? She's a bit of an outsider. I mean, obviously Wayne is super invested in her being a lion, but tigers are more lonesome animals. They hunt on their own, and I think that was kind of the element of that sort of feline feeling of not being a part of the pride of wild cats, but maybe the more kind of mysterious loner cat. And also the fact that it was Ulla Monk that kind of gave her the tiger title, and he's also a lone hunter, you know, and I think it was, yeah, it just helped play with the kind of feminine, frightening, feline element of Dot and of the kind of people that she's around. Yeah, I don't know. I think Tiger was quite a good shout.
Yeah, no, very fair. And I think like something interesting about this season is where all the characters like find their strength and power. Like, you know, you've got Jon Hamm's Roy, and it's sort of very much in sort of the weight of his badge and his gun is sort of where he gets his strength and power. For Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, it's more maybe her financial like wealth and connections and things.
But I think
Where
for
do you
her, it's
find
her
like
self-made. She's self-made, right? Lorraine Lyon. It's
yes,
like the fact that
that's
she has
true.
made herself into
Yeah.
this super powerful woman that can kind of,
Yeah.
you know, screw over anybody or also help people. But she came from a place where that was not who she was initially. So she's done that for herself. Roy Tillman has also created a self-made power by believing he is above the law. So he's above his badge. He's above this kind of,
Yeah.
and I think there is an element of both of them not allowing Dot to have power, which weirdly gives her power. I think, you know, I think the fact that
Yeah, where does
they
she
want
find
to
her
squish that, I think a lot of
Yeah.
that comes from surviving, being a survivor, being a true survivor, and also being a mother. I think she probably found a new kind of superpower in being a mother, and I think her husband really helps her to be, I guess, present in herself and be happy in her world as she wants to be. You know, he allows that space for her, and I think he's actually an incredibly powerful character too, because he's a man that is truly gentle and loves her and cares so much about her and Scotty's happiness in a way that I think she didn't know was possible until she fell in love with him. And then on top of that, you know, imagine the complications that would have happened when she gave birth to a little girl, and he was the support for her through that. But I think, yeah, a big part of her power comes from this ability to be this kind of fighter and a mother at the same time. And when we were shooting a lot of these sequences, that was a really important thing to always remember, that in these moments where she's being really feral and fighting her way out of a situation that you're like, is she going to get out of this? She manages to find these moments where she's kind of motherly. And I think her desire to have a family and her real kind of love for the family that she has created, and those are things that give her power, because she has created a family. She's created a family that's best family in the world for her. And I think that is what gives her the drive and the power to survive the things that are thrown at her in this installment that we watch, you know, because she's done that before. And those were her different reasons, which again, I think it was about survival. And I really think she is an extraordinary survivalist.
What was your reaction when you first read the final scene of the series?
I wept. I thought it was so beautiful. I was like, wow, this is a really extraordinary way to finish off this chapter, because it was truly about forgiveness and allowing forgiveness to be more important than death, you know, and it felt really quite magical, actually, and emotional, because that is also, I guess, to bring it back to power, I think that is a big part of Dot's power, her ability to forgive ultimately too. And it was the last scene we shot too, so it was a really moving thing to do.
And almost like a power in giving the choice of what he was going to do next too. Like there was something really beautiful about that, and yeah, to offer him, to not just to offer him forgiveness, but offer him the choice to accept that forgiveness. So that was like so beautiful, such a lovely moment. What was important for you to find as you were performing it?
The including of my family in that situation, because I think there was something really incredible about the fact that she doesn't tell Wayne to take Scotty away. She doesn't tell them to leave. She doesn't tell them to not be a part of this moment. In fact, she really allows them to kind of guide the moment too. And because I think having the family be a part of it really helps with the choice for Monk, right? Of giving him the option to do what he came to do later, or to be a part of the family, enjoy the moment, and chow down on some forgiveness. And so really making the dance happen with the family was really important to find. And, you know, we rehearsed it a bit like a play, actually, and figuring out the kind of move in the kitchen, and when Scotty would come in and kind of interrupt Monk, and when Wayne would be offering him a drink, and it would be these moments that were quite heavy, and this lightness that the family brought, where it's really felt like a kind of standoff between light and dark.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. And was it, we talked about, like you mentioned before, how like, you know, finding things in the moment, and sort of like, was there anything like that surprised you as you were performing it about Dot or anyone?
Again, I think it was about reacting to David, who plays Wayne, and Sienna, who plays Scotty, and their genuine open arms and curiosity and kindness in that sequence. It meant that I couldn't ever be kind of combative or feel dangerous in that scene. And I think that was something that was really extraordinary to be a part of. I think throughout this whole chapter, actually, the performances from all the people around me, that I had it was such an amazing job as an actor to work with everybody in this cast, because they were so giving. And so they surprised me a lot in moments where different characters would affect Dot in ways I hadn't seen coming. And the choices that people made were really, really profound, I thought, and really affected my performance as Dot. And I think that was a big discovery in that scene, that Dot wasn't going to be the kind of the equal in that scene. She was going to be the mother.
Juno, we spoke we've spoken about Ted Lasso before, but we also spoke 7 years ago when you were, or almost 8 years ago now, when you were promoting Vinyl. And
whoa, yeah.
Wow.
Whoa.
And you shared then that, like, when you were 4 and you had chicken pox, your dad put on La Belle et la Bête, and it just like captured you, and you
Game
forgot
changer.
like you forgot you were itchy from the chicken pox that were bad. does like you today, all these years later, do you still have those moments of magic with film and television, where it just sort of
Yeah.
changes everything, makes that load off? Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I think that's the beauty of this, right? Is that those are the moments you strive for. Those are the moments that you're salivating for. The moments where you forget a camera is rolling. The moments that you hear a cut and you're like, what? Oh my God, whoa. And I think the magic of doing this incredible journey of living in Dot's shoes was about what I was saying in the previous question about really being present with the people that you were performing with, because they were so in it and you were so in it, and so bouncing off each other felt so real and so precious. And I think for me, the stuff with all my family, which was so heavy in the beginning, and David and Sienna, so Wayne and Scotty, became like a safe word for me. They really felt like home. And then as we kind of moved into episode 7 and I embark on this journey interacting with other characters, and I didn't really see them, I felt vulnerable. And I felt I really missed them, and I think also the scene actually where Lorraine calls, or I speak to Lorraine, I call and I speak to Lorraine on the phone, and she says, no daughter of mine I don't remember exactly what she says, but it's when she calls me a daughter. That was a scene that I forgot we were filming. That felt very real. That was a magic scene.
Yeah. Like when you're a kid sitting at home, maybe in your pajamas with chicken pox, just like having this film like sort of envelop you in that way, like is it a whole different level when you're actually working on scenes with actors and stuff? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think it can be, for me, there's been moments where it's almost felt like it saves me. That sounds so intense, but it does. I think it's an interaction with people in ways where you get to explore your mind and your thought process of being alive, and the different perspectives of being alive through the characters you get to play. And it makes you, I don't know, become a better woman, I suppose, for me, because it's about, like, I've always been terrified of growing up. And in the, more recent years, I have grown up. I feel like on camera, I'm playing mums, and I'm getting to play women who have left their kind of teen years in their early 20s. And I think that experience is teaching me that maybe being a grown up doesn't have to be really as scary as I thought. And I mean, not that it's going to be easy, but that it's worth it. And I think that's something that I'm really, really grateful for.
yeah. When we spoke about vinyl all those years ago, like it was sort of like earlier in your career, and now you've gotten 3 Emmy nominations. You've like done work with Fargo,
That's so
Ted
crazy.
Lasso. Yeah, isn't that like what like what I guess what surprised you most in that time? Like, or how have you? I guess you've spoken just about how you've grown and what you've learned, but I guess like what like would you say to yourself like 8 years ago about sort of the next 8 years of your life and in your work?
I guess don't cry because it's over, but be happy that it happened. Is always a
Yeah,
great one. Because it was a heartbreak when vinyl came to a close.
yeah,
It was also the first time I'd ever embarked on doing TV with the potential of coming back again. And then when Ted Lasso came around, it was something that I was nervous about that. And then Keely was the first character I got to live with for 3 years, and I like, words slightly fail me with that. She meant a lot to me, and getting to live with her over and over again was something that I loved more than I ever thought I was going to. And I miss her, and she was somebody that was really good about, I don't know, helping to be kinder to yourself. And I think then when Fargo happened, it was just kind of next level. I was quite shocked that it came into my life, and I think the joy of these characters too is the research that you get to do. It's really important, and it helps to develop a character in ways that I think, saying to my younger self, I'd be like, doing the research and asking all the questions and making all the notes on your script and having it all the information you possibly can, all the knowledge that you can gain about this person that you're going to be living with for however much time, you can't ever have too much, you know? And I think that's something that I really do now, and I really do take that seriously. And it's really a way to kind of get yourself lost in a world for a while. Yeah, it's been an amazing roller coaster over 8 years, that's for sure.
Yeah. If you were to say like one sentence, like just quickly about what you'd want the viewer to be left with Fargo after season 5, what would it be?
Oh my God. Love conquers all.
Love it. Juno, thanks so much for talking to us today. It's great to hear about how, like, sort of from just the fun of Fargo to how acting's and performing has saved you in a sense, and all the best of luck for the Emmys for Fargo. Really would love to
Thank
see
you.
you get nominated again for that.
Oh, thank
People who love the
you.
Emmys can go to goldderby.com to follow the awards. And it's always so lovely to chat, Juno. Thanks for making the time today.
Thank you for having me. It was gorgeous.